Alrighty, everybody. We've come towards the end of the day. We have one more session. Let's see. I'll play off of Rick's puns earlier. Before we close the book on today, there's one more chapter. So, been sitting on that one for a little while. Ben has already warned me that he's bringing a lot of energy to the stage, so I'm a little terrified about what's about to happen. He's in a jumpsuit that he wasn't in earlier today, so he's had a wardrobe change. So this should be a good one. It's called the Retail Renaissance. Joining Ben on the stage, who Ben will be moderating, we have Rick Almeida from Puma. We also have Christian Gonzales, who has been a veteran in the industry, who's led digital teams at Bloomingdale's, Macy's, and most recently, The Knot. So this is going to be a great session to end the day. And then after this, we're going to get to go to the happy hour together. So let's give them a round of applause and take the stage, gentlemen.
All right, so like Frank said, we are the final thing keeping us from happy hour. So, in true democratic form, if you want to go to happy hour, just start walking out. If we're boring, we get it. We're the closers here. But Rick is one of my guys. I grew up with the Puma brand. I think it's pretty funny because, we are a French company. I'm actually the best soccer player at Botify, and it's not even close. So an American is the best soccer player at a European-founded company. It's pretty great. So excited to be here. Rick has built an awesome team here at Puma. We were talking before this, and we're describing how we describe what we do to our moms and daughters. And you described, I just tell my daughters that, or they say about you, you just sell shit online.
That's it.
You do. That's it.
That's it.
But maybe like a little deeper than that, just give us a quick intro, and then I'll lob some random question at you, and we'll see how we do.
Sure. I think I've been selling shoes since I was 16, from the sales floor, launching a couple first-generation sites for brands like Stride Rite, Clarks, and now I've been doing it at Puma for the last 4.5 years and really accelerating growth for Puma North America.
Awesome. And then, Christian, you are a retail titan. We've convinced you to come out of retirement to help us with some stuff, but Macy's, Bloomingdale's, most recently at The Knot. Tell us about kind of what you're up to, how you think about things, and your expertise.
Sure. So it's spent a lot of years in Rick's shoes, being the person who was looking at software and purchasing software to help brands grow. Now I kind of connected tissue, help brands connect with groups like Botify and others to make sure that they spend correctly, that they invest correctly. A lot of the stuff we've talked about today.
Yeah, and I actually don't understand what the title means. It's really long, so we'll just call this a retail recap. I think we covered a lot of this in the previous sessions. So we're going to talk about how we think about it a little bit differently. But let's have some fun. Throw some softballs out, if you will. Brian's like, throw a couple curveballs. We'll circle the wagons after this together. But we'll get into it. So in the happy hour mindset, let's do quick fun facts. Rick, who's like your favorite closer of all time?
Oh boy. All right. Well, my first closer, maybe because of the business sense, is free shipping. But from a closer perspective, coming from a city of champions like Boston, excuse me for any New York fans, is Paul Pierce. The truth. Someone earlier said AI, Allen Iverson. Truth. Wrong. Paul Pierce.
AI is the answer.
Yes, not the truth.
That's the truth. As a New York Yankees fan, it's clearly Mariano Rivera.
I'm going to go Jose Mesa. I was born in Cleveland, so I'm going to go Mesa. But fantastic answers. So let's dive into this, right? Let's start with strategy. I think you always have to start there. We talked a lot about it today, but with all these channels in play, things continue to evolve at a faster pace. Where do we do? Where do we start with?
First of all, I'll just say, I'm truly inspired coming here today and the wealth of knowledge that's been here. I'm also, like Rob said earlier, I'm not an SEO expert, but damn, I wish I want to be one now. I feel like I got in the back door to this exclusive club, and here we are today talking about something like, it's really great. So
we just actually accepted you into the
am I accepted now?
Yeah.
All right, cool, yeah. Cool. No initiation later. But no, I mean, look, I think a couple things that we talked about preparing for this is, first of all, and there's a lot of themes here, looking at the underlying infrastructure that you've got, right? Making sure that tech debt is taken care of. It's not just about putting in new things on top of cracks in the foundation, right? You've got to make sure that your underlying infrastructure is in place and that you're constantly looking at evolving your technology. But you've got to be quick and nimble as well, right? The word agility kept coming up today as well, and that's what we talk about in our business. We've got to sweat the assets we have. It's not just about chasing the shiny new tools or the next thing. It's, are we sweating the assets we have? Are we getting everything we want out of it before making change? But that change needs to be quick. You need to be able to pivot. And I think when it comes to the ecosystem, what you're putting change in, I don't think executives all the time understand just what goes into that, the data that goes into that, the integration. So some things are easier than others, but I do think that that's important to make sure that you're bringing them along for the journey.
Let's pause there for a second. I think the team at Puma has done a good job at this, but I think we've heard over and over it can be a little challenging with more senior executive teams, older executive teams that aren't necessarily embracing change as fast as they need to. Is that just something you need to fight through, or like why do you think there is this frustration at times to just kind of ignore reality from certain perspectives?
Yeah, I just think it's managing expectations, right?
Yeah.
How long things take, why they take a certain amount of time, but so long as the business case is grounded in things they can understand, like the ROI, right? What's really important, then it's just manage expectations in terms of what that roadmap or plan looks like to deliver, and then delivering on that.
Yeah, right on. Christian, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, somebody earlier said what marketers have dedicated engineers, and we had a spattering of hands. How many marketers have dedicated product managers on their team that they're working through their roadmap with? And I think that that's a really, really great place to start, because I think search needs to be on your marketing roadmap, but search also needs to be on your product roadmap, because they live together. They're going to grow together. The ROI, the other returns that you're going to see, all of those things are only going to work as fast as the product that you're developing. So one of the things that I tell my clients is, if you're building a website right now, you have a new business, you're doing a replatform, you're starting from scratch, work with an SEO partner today to make sure you future-proof. If you have a legacy platform, you have some tech debt, you might have some folks in the organization who are a little cynical, maybe don't understand. Bringing an SEO partner to help accelerate that right now. You're going to get to that end of the journey at some point. You're going to need an SEO partner no matter where you are as business.
So let's talk a little bit about tactics then, right? So we start with strategy, you move to tactics. Rick, you've built a phenomenal team. I think, Tony and that crew are some of the best at what they do. What are some of the more tactical things you're focused on to really execute on in strategy?
Well, I think one of the things, we don't have a product team just for SEO, which I'm jealous about, but we have a global team that supports us, right? So a center of excellence, if you will, or just a service center for serving the regions. And I think getting everyone clear OKRs, right? Or we call them OSAMs, but are we going towards and rowing in the same direction? And I think that's really important. If you are, it makes things a lot easier. It's clear about what the vision is and what those tactics need to be in terms of driving the plans for the future. We just launched a mobile app a year ago in the US. We've got our Canadian app launching hopefully next week. But it's really important to make sure that for whatever the strategies are for your brand, you're linking them back to delivering a seamless consumer experience, right? So where you guys came into play for us, one was making sure that we deliver that experience no matter what a consumer was searching for, where that end experience is, whether if it's on our site or on our app. We wanted to make sure that we were delivering the right experience in the right place at the right moment for that consumer, being really relevant. So, really important.
Right on. And then, Christian, from your perspective, anything to add there?
Well, I think, if we had this conversation 5 years ago, everything would have been about mobile first, right? And this is like the first time somebody has mentioned the word mobile first. Mm-hmm. This quarter, high watermark in terms of retail spend on mobile, high watermark in terms of retail traffic on mobile. Don't take your eyes off of it. If you don't have a great mobile experience, if you don't have a great native experience, and there are companies out there that aren't there right now, laser focused on that. And then I think one of the things that we're going to get to a little more is the economies of scale of all of the things that we're going to describe or people have described about search. All of those things apply really well to other parts of your company. If you have a great tech stack, if you have great product data, if you're writing things in a very cogent manner, that's going to help you in spend. That's going to help you across all those other verticals. So it's really important to invest there. The economies of scale are going to show up all over your business.
How about some other, let's get to like techniques then, right? So we've talked strategy, talked some tactics. How about specific techniques with the from a lens of like marketplaces and influencers? Like, how are you guys using those tools to your advantage, or what are you seeing in that space?
Yeah, you want me I can grab that one. Yeah. So it's interesting. We talk about being found, right? And so much of the focus here, and rightly so, because of the forum, is about SEO. But being found is being found in all of the places that you are, right? So that is, if you're a brand, if you are participating in marketplaces, if you're a retailer, if you're having other brands participate rather in your marketplace. All of those things need to be really well defined, and they need to be really well optimized. Specifically, if you're the marketplace operator and you're taking in somebody else's content, you need to make sure that that content is in brand voice. It needs to be optimized. It needs to be crawlable. The best way for you to be able to do that is to use a partner. And I think that there are some great AI partners out there. There's a great tool from Feedonomics called Feed AI that will take that, categorize it, use natural language to kind of put it into a format that's going to be readable. And that's the way that you're going to help be found. Because again, being found just isn't your site. Being found, especially for a brand, is all of the places that you're participating.
Yeah, I think just to add on that from a marketplace, there are certain marketplaces where we have a wholesale relationship, and that's where the business is going. And then for where we show up from an owned and operated perspective, it's where are consumers searching out the brand? Where are our competitors? How much control do we have in terms of how we show up, the perception of those marketplaces, and where we want to be as a brand? So I think it's really important for us to make sure that, as we show up, we're showing up the way we want to in order to participate. We're also seeing that the majority of consumers that are purchasing on marketplaces for us are consumers that aren't buying on our website. So it's a great place to reach new consumers and find ones that that's their home, that's their loyalty to the marketplace. And then from a social perspective, influencers, we dabble in all that, from our bigger brand ambassadors, whether those are athletes or celebrities, through to the micro influencers, and really tapping into and being relevant and showing up where the consumer wants to be, but not intrusive, complementary to their lifestyle, their habits, their behaviors, but getting that brand out, getting our brand out there, and showing up where it's important to.
Yeah, and when you're playing in social, I think there's so much emphasis on influence, but one of the biggest growing sectors in marketing is influencer marketing, and Salesforce has some interesting numbers that they're predicting for holiday, that it's going to be the biggest growing marketing channel is social marketing. And so that also kind of dovetail in making sure that your product feeds are written correctly, that you're using tools to keep those things fresh, to keep those things automated, so that you're directing back to your site in a really efficient way.
And how about, so we'll close on this. How about, let's talk about this from a search perspective, and then we actually have a good amount of questions. I think 50% of them are serious. One is, how many pairs of Pumas does Ben own? I can answer that one. Let's just think about it a little bit. But let's actually get to some of these. Has Rick met Ricky Fowler? All right, now we're having a good time. Okay, so we're going to actually get to some of these. But
that's a good question.
Let's talk about this from a search perspective, and then we're just going to get through as many of these as we can. And I think Frank's going to close this out, and then we're going to have some drinks. So, back over to you guys from a search perspective, and then we'll filter some of these. Christian, you first. Why not?
Just in general with search, I think that, again, economies of scale, right? Everything that you're investing is going to help you, and that's whether that's organic, whether that's site search, whether that is paid, owned, earned, etc. Everything you're doing is an investment. If you're really, really great at organic search, it's going to pay dividends across the board for you.
Yeah, I think hearing the conversations we're not giving up on or shutting off paid tomorrow. We're going to play defense to play offense in that respect, and we're going to try to get as much coverage as we can out there to attract the eyeballs based on where they're searching, and I think beyond just search in its native sense, I think the opportunity for brands is continue to partners like yourself and those that you guys have back with your teams, alphas, betas, continuing to adopt change and be a mover, a first mover, and a culture of first. I think that's really important in order to take advantage of some of these things, is really being out there at the forefront. Everyone's got a roadmap and a backlog, and it's hard to just bring things in when you get a call from a partner and like, hey, you want to be in a beta tomorrow, but I think taking those calls, taking those opportunities to see how else you can get ahead of the game and get ahead of your competition is really important.
Yeah, and earmarking some of your energy for things like that, because new opportunities are going to present themselves, and not being so tied and married to that roadmap.
Yeah,
I think that's incredibly important.
And it's hard to say no, right? But you have to. At times, like, saying no it's okay. You have to be comfortable saying no to some things, and I think that's something that I've learned over my career. It's like you cannot just say yes or put it to somewhere. It's like, that's not something we're going to be able to do right now, but these are the things that we're going to be working towards and delivering against. So,
Cool. So let's do a couple fun ones. I think we have 2 more serious ones to end with, and then we'll bring Frank up. So first one, I mean, Rick, this is for you. Have you met Ricky Fowler?
I have.
Yes. There we go.
Yes, great individual. We have the opportunity at our town halls that we have about 4 times a year. They usually bring in some ambassador, and Ricky was with us earlier this year. So yeah, he's going to be featured in this new. I don't know if you guys saw this new Netflix show that's coming out that he's going to be featured as part of. But really cool intro. I've had the opportunity to meet some individuals throughout my career here, which is great. Week 1 in, I met DeAndre Ayton. I think he's like 7'1". I was just like, jeez, he's a tall man. But
Mike
yeah.
Tharp, stand up for us, will you?
Oh, by the way, how many pairs of shoes?
Yeah.
So I've been through 6 pairs of Puma accelerators in my career, and then I've been through probably like 8 or 9 pairs of Puma Kings.
All right.
So I'm more or less retired from soccer, and I probably own 6 pairs of Pumas right now.
That's not enough.
I know.
I did a count before we came up, just in case you're going to ask me that question. 22.
All right.
I probably have more shoes than half the women in this room right now. You don't think so?
Also, this might be a like new Etsy product we got to spin up tonight. We're having some fun. Is this your new working desk, Svetlana? The deep dish desk? All right, I think we should brainstorm on that. We'll put together a quick TikTok and see if it goes viral. But that could be something. All right, so next fun one. Let's see. Are the Phillies going to win tonight? We'll give that to Christian.
No, as a New York Yankees fan, I am like summoning the gods that the Phillies do not win tonight, just out of spite.
All right, so last 2, so we'll pause it here. As now I think more jokes are coming in. But let's do this first. So, how do you know whether you have good digital visibility or not? How would you measure it?
That's a great question. Digital visibility for us is, I think, staying on top of evolving trends, channels, and are you tapping into where your consumers are? We've recently been spinning up more of a voice of the consumer, right? Understanding, getting not just feedback on the site, but focus groups, and understanding where consumers are and trying to tap into them in terms of where do we show up, how do we be a part and complement their lives. So I think that's really important. It's not just about throwing every channel and every push and every in-app. It's like, are your consumers going to use the things that you're putting out there? And if you are, then you're showing up in the right places and not just adding services or channels for the sake of it. So I think it's really important to tap into your consumers and make sure that you understand what do they want from you. And then you measure it by their engagement.
Yep, 100%. So many organizations use words like product-led or revenue-led, consumer-led organization. Let the people who are going to spend their hard-earned money with you tell you where they want you to be.
So this one summarized, and we'll close here. It sounds like in both your careers, you've both done a good job of communicating up well. How do you showcase the work of your teams, to your boss and your boss's boss, when what they do is pretty, down into the weeds? So how do you become a good interpreter in these situations where we get a pretty technical team, and you kind of bridge the gap between executive and that team? What have you done to just kind of operate well in that space?
Never take credit, and making sure that what the team does, we celebrate success and wins, and we probably don't do that enough. I think that's hard to do sometimes when you're moving at the speed at which we all do. But celebrating those things and making sure that you get those individuals recognized. We have recognition awards that happen within our organization as well. So it's a way for individuals to nominate one another, and then monthly we have winners. So you get a chance to really spotlight individuals. And when you're not doing that, it's just on the regular. Even when you're failing, it was brought up earlier, like fail fast and learn. I think it's really important. Even when you swing and you miss, let's acknowledge it. Let's take one and let's move on to the next thing. But continuing to demonstrate change, opportunity, and what we're doing to evolve the business, I think is really important in giving those individuals credit.
Yeah, I think one step before that, clearly articulated strategy to your executive team, clear OKRs, plain language, common sense, so that your investors, your executive team, your senior leaders know what you're trying to accomplish, so that when you can bring in your teams and you can show them what they did, it all makes sense.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. This has been a lot of fun. Frank, why don't you close us out and we'll go grab some drinks. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, guys.
All right, yeah, I was gonna say, okay. Awesome. All right. Well, great session. Great jumpsuit, Ben. I was actually expecting a little more energy, but you have time to redeem yourself later at happy hour. All right. We have reached the end of our time together here. You're all welcome to join us to keep spending time together, or if you're tired of us, we get it. You all don't have to, but there's going to be a happy hour. It's basically around the corner. You can also scan your QR badge, and it'll give you directions to Timeout Chicago. That is where the happy hour will be. Before we leave, I did just want to say one more time, thank you to our marketing team. I think most of them are in the back corner right now if we want to give them an applause and embarrass them a little bit. So thank you for putting on an amazing event for all of us. Thank you to our advisory board. Thank you to all of our speakers who took out time to be here with us. And also, thank you to all of you who have come here today, like I said, from all over the country. We could not do what we do without you. You all are tasked with solving some of the most complex digital problems in the industry. You do it amazingly. You do it with grace. And we are just grateful to be your partners along the way. And with that, let's go to happy hour and get some drinks.